Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, so we'll start with our prayers. I think hopefully others will join us as we commence. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Om Ajnanatimirasya Jnananjanachhalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sashivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganadvaita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namuste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shubhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Tanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Radhanath Samma. Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Kucharini Nirvishesh Vivadi Paschat. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dintaranam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. Nice to see you, Praveen Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Nice to
Sorry,
see
I'm joining after a long time.
No, you're welcome. I'm happy to see you. No complaints. I'm just happy to see you. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So, first of all, very happy Purushottam Adhik Mas to all the devotees. So again, we are fortunate somehow with the Lord's arrangement. We happen to have our classes on auspicious occasions. Krishna is very keen to give us, force a lot of mercy on us, which is very good. That is the kindness of the Lord and the devotees, that they are always looking for means to make us fortunate. And that is also actually the topic of the chapter that we are going to be discussing today of Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 7, which is entitled that the Lord begins his tour of South India. So, while all this while the Lord's focus was pre-sannyas, was on preaching in Navadvip. This is the first preaching tour, official preaching tour that the Lord will undertake. So, of course, the tour is not, this is only just the beginning of the tour. So, it's not that the tour is only one chapter, because there are many sweet pastimes which happen along the way. The Lord spent roughly around 2 years doing a tour of South India. So, we will be entering that particular episode today. I'm hoping, Krishna willing, that we will complete the chapter today. So broadly, actually, in today's chapter, there is the description of why and how the Lord embarked on the South India tour. So that is one part of the discussion, a significant part of the chapter. And the other part of the chapter is the first couple of special episodes of devotees delivered by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the South India too, namely the Kurma Brahmana and the leper Vasudev. And both of these special devotees were delivered at Kurma Kshetra. So we'll be discussing about them because those pastimes of their deliverance are very, very instructive. So we can spend some time reflecting. Great souls speak a lot. I remember His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj also speak very elaborately. So of course, I'm just giving you appetizers. So you should listen to all these pure devotees when we hear from their lips. Not only is it more purifying, but also they truly bring out the deep, profound significance of these very beautiful pastimes. So the chapter begins by giving a brief synopsis from a calendar perspective. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that if you remember, Lord Chaitanya took sannyas on what day? Anybody remembers? What was the tithi Lord Chaitanya took sannyas? Nobody knows what tithi he took sannyas? Without Googling, it was Makar Sankranti. So please remember Makar Sankranti. Every time there is Makar Sankranti, you can remember Lord Chaitanya's. Usually around 14th of January for us. So that is the month of Magh. It was the Shukla Paksha of the month of Magh. And the Lord took sannyas. And as we know, very soon after sannyas, he wanted to go to Vrindavan, and Lord Nityananda, tricked him, and then he ended up in Bengal. He spent there a couple of weeks or so in the house of Advaitacharya along with all the residents of Navadvip. Sachi Mata came there. We discussed all those very beautiful pastimes. And after that, it is said around the month of Falgun, which is the month immediately after Magh. So Falgun is around February time, roughly February, Marchish, depends because the months slightly, they're not exactly oriented with the English calendar all the time. It's to and fro. But around February time, the month of Falgun, the Lord went to Jagannath Puri on the insistence of his mother and after receiving the blessings of all the devotees. Of course, he came with 4 other associates of his. Anybody remembers who are the 4 associates that he came with?
Nityanand Prabhu, Damodar, and Damodar Pandit, and I forgot the other name.
Jagadananda Pandit.
Jagadananda Pandit, yeah.
And Mukunda Datta. So 4 of them. Okay, so along with them they came. And then we know as soon as he came to Jagannath Puri, his entry into Jagannath Puri and taking darshan of Jagannath coincided with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya seeing him and he collapsing in front of. So that episode actually was practically immediate as soon as he came. So within a month of the Lord's reaching Puri, so Falgun he reached. It is said in the month of Chaitra. So after Falgun, Falgun is the last month of the Hindu calendar, right? So after Falgun, there is the Gudi Padwa, which is the New Year day, Ugadi, Gudi Padwa. So Chaitra month begins after that. It is said in the month of Chaitra, the pastime that we just discussed, which is the detailed conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, where he delivered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya by convincing him to be a pure devotee and convincing him how pure devotional service to Sri Krishna is ultimate conclusion of the Vedanta. He transformed. So that happened in Chaitra. So very fast. Huh? And Chaitra is what? Chaitra is like early April, roughly. So he took sannyas in mid-January. By April, Sarvam Bhattacharya is transformed. So of course, just before that, he converted or transformed Sarvam Bhattacharya, the Lord attended Dola Yatra, which was towards the end of Falgun. And that was obviously in Jagannath Puri. Dol Yatra is the swing festival, which is celebrated. So there are many, many festivals in Jagannath temple which are celebrated. Of course, the most significant is the Jagannath Rath Yatra. That's the most significant. But there are many other festivals and there are many other Utsav Murtis. If you recollect, once you come out after taking darshan of Jagannath, when you come out of the temple, immediately on the right-hand side, you will see an altar full of many Utsav Murtis. If you recollect, the main temple, just on the altar on the side. So there are many deities there, and those deities are worshipped on various occasions for various festivities. So there is a Dol Yatra, swing festival that was celebrated, and then in Chaitra, Sarvam Bhattacharya was transformed. And very soon after that, when the month of Vaishakha came, Chaitra, then Vaishakha, right? This is Magh, Falgun, Chaitra, Vaishakha. Which month is going on now?
Purushottam.
Correct. And which month was there yesterday?
Shravan.
Shravan. Thank you. Good. Okay. So we are not totally lost. Okay. So yeah. So in the time when Vaishak came, so it was barely a month after Sarvam Bhattacharya was transformed, and Sarvam Bhattacharya was so happy. Every day getting association of Lord Chaitanya and his devotees, and he was very, very blissful. So it so happened Lord Chaitanya called all his devotees. All his devotees means mainly these four. His immediate associates. And he said to them very humbly, "Thank you so much. You have been so nice to me. You have brought me to Jagannath Puri, and because of you, everything is going on wonderfully, and I can take such nice darshan of, Lord Jagannath. My whole life is for you." So whenever somebody starts speaking a lot of things like this, means there is some news to share which you don't like to hear. Suddenly out of the blue, somebody starts speaking like this, then so after that Lord Chaitanya said, "Actually, I want to request one charity from all of you. And the charity that I want is, please give me your permission to do a tour of South India." Everybody was shocked. Because the first thing that came to their mind was, yes, we are also coming. So first Lord Chaitanya explained to them why he wanted to go to South India too. So obviously it was not for tourism. He explained to them, he said, many years ago, Vishwarupa left home and he took sannyas. And what I have heard is that he has gone towards South India. And he's there somewhere in South India. So I want to go on this South India tour so that I can go to all the holy places and find out about his whereabouts and meet him. So that was the pretext. And immediately the Lord told the devotees, "But please forgive me, I want to go alone. I'm not going to take any one of you with me." Actually, even though Lord Chaitanya said that he wanted to find about the Vishwarupa, about the whereabouts of Vishwarupa, actual fact is that Lord Chaitanya already knew, obviously being the Supreme Lord, that Vishwarupa had already taken Samadhi by that time. So we didn't discuss much here, but Vishwarupa, it's not mentioned here, but I will just share with you that Vishwarupa, after he left home, if you recollect, he was in very close association with Advaita and all the devotees, and he was very, very attached to Harikatha and totally detached from material enjoyment. So as soon as he found out that his parents were planning his marriage he quietly disappeared from home and ran away and took sannyas. Much to, and nobody knew where he is. Nobody knew he's alive or not or nothing. No news at all. No phone call, no email, no letter, nothing, no idea. So it is said he toured quite a bit. He took sannyas, he toured quite a bit the holy places around India, and it is said that he went to Pandharpur and he took samadhi at Pandharpur in Maharashtra. Vishwarup disappeared at Pandharpur. Of course, when he disappeared, because Vishwarup is also an expansion of Lord Balram, it is said when Lord Nityananda, who was also traveling all over India, when Nityananda Prabhu went to Pandharpur, Vishwarup's transcendental form merged into the form of Lord Nityananda. So that's the background story, of course, not mentioned here. So Lord Chaitanya already knew, obviously being the Supreme Lord, that Vishwarupa has disappeared, but he pretended as if he did not know anything and, I'm going on a discovery mission. Of course, in the manifest pastimes later, and we will come to that point later, but just to mention, eventually the Lord comes to Pandharpur and there he finds out about Vishwarup's Samadhi. But that happens much later. Right now, the Lord is pretending as if he doesn't know anything. So anyway, so he says, that is the reason, I can go. And the Lord's actual internal reason was he wanted to go to South India so that he can liberate all the people there. So the Lord was thinking that I have taken sannyas mainly for the reason of delivering the people of this world. I want to spread the chanting of the holy name. So I have to start my mission. So that was the Lord's internal purpose, but the Lord was not willing to reveal that purpose to his immediate associates, because he knew that then if he says, oh, I'm going on preaching, they will, be very... The Lord was very keen that he did not want. And there is a reason why the Lord did not want, and that is explained. Just discuss about that. So obviously when he said like that, Nityanand Prabhu and all the devotees protested. How can you go alone? How is it possible? We cannot tolerate this. Please allow, if you don't want all four of us, at least one or two of us can accompany you. Don't you know you go into such ecstatic moods and then you fall down and this and that. And you're going to pass through so many forests and hills and all that. There's so much danger of rogues and thieves along the way. So at least two persons must be with you. Nothing doing. In fact, you should take me with you. There cannot be a better guide for you than me, because I have toured all over India. All places, all routes, I know everything. So Nityananda Prabhu never wanted to give up the association of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was very quick. I know, Nityan, you are always trying to make me dance according to your tunes. But I am not going to listen to you this time. I know. I trusted you last time. What you did, I wanted to go to Vrindavan and, you tricked me to go here. After that, you broke my danda also. So all these things, so I don't want to, take you. And then Jagadananda started looking at Lord Chaitanya as if, maybe I should come. The Lord said, Jagadananda, actually I'm a sannyasi, but this Jagadananda, he always wants to give me bodily comfort and bodily enjoyment. Actually, Jagadananda in age was a little, little senior. I think it was a little senior. I don't remember what his age was exactly in relation to Lord Chaitanya, but he was very heavy on Lord Chaitanya. Heavy in the sense, he was very particular that Lord Chaitanya should be extremely comfortable. So he would try to make nice soft beds. He will give nice perfumes for the Lord to put on the body, and the Lord would become very uncomfortable. Lord would always think, I'm a sannyasi, I have to lie on the ground. And why is giving me all these comforts? So of course they were doing out of their love, because they did not like to think of the Lord as a sannyasi. They knew that the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it was painful for them. At the same time, the Lord was very, very strict as a sannyasi. Then the Lord says, he always wants me to take all kinds of comforts. But actually, all these requests and insistence that he does actually just disturbs my mind. And sometimes fearing that he will chastise me, sometimes I, somehow I try to accommodate his request. But if someday I go against what Jagadananda says, then out of anger, he will not talk to me for 3 days. So, then it gives me great pain. Mukunda also is like that. It's my duty to lie on the floor, take 3 times bath, even though it is very cold. But whatever austerities I'm performing as a sannyasi, Mukunda becomes very upset. Actually, Mukunda is not as harsh to me as Jagadananda. Jagadananda directly chastises me. But when I look at Mukunda's face, when he sees me performing austerity, Mukunda becomes so sad in his face that I become doubly sad just by seeing his face, that he is sad. And what to speak of this Damodar? This Damodar actually is a brahmachari. But he chastises me holding a stick in his hand because he thinks I don't know how to behave in public. He thinks I am a neophyte as far as social interaction is concerned. So he's always advising me and correcting me. So the Lord, is jokingly speaking all these things. Actually, it seems as if the Lord is criticizing them, but actually the Lord is glorifying their affection for him. Because he's saying that, how keen they are. See, because it is the nature of a devotee that he wants to give the best of the best to the Supreme Lord. The devotee always understands that the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he's the supreme enjoyer. Actually, this was the reason that the Lord Chaitanya's close associates were very pained when the Lord took sannyas. Because they're thinking he's the supreme enjoyer, he's Lakshmipati. Why he has to do all these austerities? Anyway, so in this way, the Lord argued and he said, sorry, all 4 of you are disqualified. So none of you 4 can come. So, if you want another few days, I can spend with you in Puri, but after that, I am going alone to all the holy places. So Nityanand Prabhu was very upset, but he knew that the Lord is very determined. So when Lord Chaitanya would be firm, nobody could, push him. So then Nityananda Prabhu very quietly said, Lord, okay, at the end of the day, we are your servants. We have to accept whatever you do. But I want to say one thing, please. One is, when you go to the tour of South India, you will have to carry your clothes. You'll have to carry a water pot. That's an absolute minimum. Obviously, you're not going to take a luggage bag with you because you're a sannyasi. But there'll be some extra piece of clothes besides what you wear, because you'll take bath and change from the existing clothes to a dry clothes. So you'll need clothes, you'll need a water pot. Plus, oh Lord, you are all the time chanting Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Nati. So you are chanting on beads. Lord Chaitanya also would chant on beads, even though he's the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The Goswamis would also chant on beads. Lord Chaitanya personally would chant. So he'll say that, oh Lord, 2 of your hands will be busy holding the beads and chanting. So if both your hands are busy chanting, you don't have extra hands to hold your water pot and your cloth. So I have one request. Okay, I agreed that you don't want any of us 4. But here, this is a Brahmana, Krishnadas. Please accept him to accompany you. So that at least as you are going around carrying your beads, he will make sure he carries your water pot and your cloth. So at least they don't get lost. Otherwise, it may cause so much inconvenience to you. And also, my Lord, you feel we all are bothering you because we are so close to you. But this Krishnadas that I have chosen is actually a very quiet fellow. He will not bother you at all. He'll just quietly be there, not talk, not disturb, just do his job of carrying and no disturbance to you. So finally, having been requested like this, Lord Chaitanya accepted the request of Nityananda Prabhu. And after this matter was settled, all of them together, they went to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because the next person to be convinced or informed was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya for the last 1 month was floating in bliss. Every day he would take darshan of Lord Chaitanya. So as soon as they entered the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saw them, he offered obeisances and he offered them a place to sit, and he sat in front of them. And then they discussed Hari Katha, Krishna Katha for some time, because that was their standard practice. They would not just say hi, bye, what's the news, how's the weather. They would come together and discuss Hari Katha. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gently slipped in to the conversation. Oh, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I have come to your place just to receive your order. My elder brother Vishwarup, he had taken sannyas some time ago. He went to South India. So I must, go to South India and search for him. He's a sannyasi now. I have also become sannyasi. So I have come here to seek your permission. I must go to South India. And please give your blessings. I will go. Very soon I will come back. No problem. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya heard this. See, where the Lord's devotees, those who are very attached to the Lord, when they hear about any imminent separation from the Lord, it is a pain too difficult for the devotees to bear. So he became very agitated. And he immediately caught the lotus feet of the Lord and he was saying, Oh Lord, after so many births, I finally achieved the good fortune of achieving your lotus feet and your association. Somehow or the other, I have achieved. And now, just look at Providence. It is taking this invaluable association of yours away from me. This is going to be so painful. I cannot imagine. Even if thunderbolts fall on my head, it is not so painful. Even if my son dies, it is not so painful. But I cannot tolerate separation from you. So he was just mortified just at the thought that Lord Chaitanya will. Of course, Lord Chaitanya didn't say that I'm going away for good. He said, I'll come back soon. But even that thought was too much for him. But then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya knew, he's Krishna. If he's saying, if Krishna decides something, see, one of the characteristics of Krishna is Krishna, even though he's very affectionate to his devotees, at the same time, Krishna is also very determined. And he's also supremely renounced. So Krishna has these apparently contradictory qualities, and he displays all of them in a very wonderful manner in various pastimes. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, Oh Lord, I know at the end of the day, you are the supreme, independent, supreme Lord. I know that I will not be able to stop you. Still, I have a request. Can you please delay your going by a few more days? Remember, even Advaita Acharya, when after taking sannyasi, he went to the house of. And if you remember, even when Krishna, in his pastimes, the Mahabharata, when he went to the house of the Pandavas, after the Rajasuya Yajna, he was just about to leave. Yudhishthir Maharaj, few more days. And Krishna couldn't say no. So the Lord becomes, the Lord actually feels such so obliged to his pure devotees. So that is the wonderful nature of the Supreme Lord. That is why when great devotees petition the Lord can't say no. So the Lord finally said, okay, I will wait for a few days. So it is said for a few days, Lord Chaitanya spent his full time with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. It is that he would be there and he would be staying with him, and every day, perhaps even though it's not mentioned here, I'm assuming perhaps breakfast, lunch, dinner, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Sati Mata, his wife, they were feeding. It is said these pastimes are discussed in great detail later. Right now, he just mentions this. So for 5 days, Lord Chaitanya delayed his departure from Jagannath Puri. And after 5 days, he finally requested Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, please now you grant me permission. Then along with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the Lord went and took darshan of Lord Jagannath. Because it is customary. He's in the dham, so he's going for South India tour. So as a devotee would do, the Lord acted similarly and went to Lord Jagannath to take Jagannath's permission. So this is the etiquette also. When we are in the temple or even when we go to the holy dham, before entering we take permission. When we are departing from the dham also, we should treat the Lord personally. We should thank you so much. You allowed me to be in the holy dham and give me this blessing. I am now going back to my town. Please give me your permission. And this is a very common practice, and not just amongst the Vaishnavas, but amongst all the various types of deity worships, the Sanatan tradition. In fact, in our case, I'm talking about my family deity. When we go there and we do puja archana, before we take leave, we actually have a ceremony where we actually, through signs, talk to the deity and take permission through the pujari. There is a particular, I don't want to go into the details, but there is a particular mechanism in which we ask for permission and we ask questions and the deity replies through certain signs. And I've been through these ceremonies many times, and so many times the deity says, no, please stay for some more time. Don't go. Then we tell the deity that, no, I would love to stay here for some more time, but my leave is ending. So I have to go back. And then the deity replies, okay, fine, but come back soon again. So this kind of personal reciprocation and personal relationship with the deity, especially with Sri Krishna, of course, that I'm mentioning in the context of another deity, not Lord Hari, but in the context of Durga Devi. But this kind of relationship, a very personal relationship one should have with the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya went in front of Jagannath and he went and prayed to Lord Jagannath. Immediately the pujari brought some Mahaprasad and garland, and Lord Chaitanya said, okay, this is the sign that Lord Jagannath has given me his blessings. And then Lord Chaitanya got ready to leave for South India. So the Lord was together with his 4 associates and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Lord Chaitanya did circumambulation of Jagannath's altar. And as he was doing that, and the Lord was just going to get ready, and the Lord had planned that before he goes to South India, he will go to Alarnath, which is the temple where the deity of Krishna in the form of the 4-armed Narayan Murti is there, where Lord Chaitanya would go for Rath Yatra. When the Lord is in Anavasar period, he would go and take darshan there. So he decided to go to Alarnath, and then from there he planned to continue his tour further towards South India. So as he was sharing his plan, Sarvam Bhattacharya called Gopinath Acharya and he said, please, Lord Chaitanya is going for the tour. Please arrange for 4 sets of sannyasi cloth, loin cloths, the bahir vastra and the upper cloth. I have already kept it ready at home. Please go and bring them and also bring some extra prasad of Lord Jagannath so that Lord Chaitanya can get. So of course all those things were brought and Krishnadas was there, Lord Chaitanya, who had been appointed by Lord Nityananda, and he carried all of that. And then Sarvam Bhattacharya conveyed one request to Lord Chaitanya. He said, "Oh Lord, of course, you have decided to go. It's very painful for me. But I have one request. You're going to South India. And as you're going to travel towards South India, on the bank of the Godavari, there is a town known as Vidyanagar. In the town of Vidyanagar, there is a very responsible government officer, actually the governor, the kingdom there, and his name is Ramananda Rai. By caste consideration is not of a very high caste. He is a Shudra by caste consideration. But, oh Lord, do not be misled by his caste. Actually, he's a very, very learned person spiritually and a very great devotee. Please meet him. Long back I had met him. That time I was not a devotee, so I was not able to understand his glories. But now that I have become a devotee, now I know that he was actually so learned and well-versed in the mellows of devotional service. He is a person who's qualified to associate with you. Otherwise, normally I will not recommend anybody's name, my Lord, but I am recommending his because I am sure you will also be happy to meet him. In fact, I don't think there is any more qualified devotee than him in terms of their expertise, in terms of spiritual rasa. So you'll definitely be very happy to meet him. And once you talk to him, my Lord, you will know how glorious he is. And you will thank me for it. So Lord Chaitanya said, okay, since you are recommending that I should meet this Ramananda Rai, I will do so. So after that he said, okay, now everything is set. Sarvam Bhattacharya, now thank you so much. I am taking your leave, and the Lord embraced Sarvam Bhattacharya. As soon as the Lord embraced Sarvam Bhattacharya and started leaving towards, of course, Alarnath first, Sarvam Bhattacharya immediately fell down and fainted. Just by the thought that now I don't know when I will see Lord Chaitanya again. But the interesting thing is, even though Sarvam Bhattacharya fainted and fell on the ground, Lord Chaitanya didn't even turn back and look. Just continue. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, the Lord just very quickly walked away. Who can understand the mind and intention of Sri Chaitanya? You see the character of Krishna, and for that matter, the character of great devotees, not just of Krishna, is very difficult to understand. There's a very beautiful verse quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj. He says, Vajradapi kathorani mriduni kusumadapi lokottarānāma chetansi kohi vigyatum ishvaraha. So he says that those who are extraordinary personalities, sometimes their heart is softer than a lotus flower, and sometimes their heart seems to be more hard than Vajra, thunderbolt. Suddenly they can be, sometimes their personality will appear very soft. Sometimes they'll be very hard. So Krishna was also like that, right? Well, of course, Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the same. Ramchandra also. So when the Lord is determined to do something, sometimes he can display what may seem like an indifference. But actually it is a reflection of the Lord's intense determination. Of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says nobody can understand. So only great personalities, all these kind of apparent contradictions can be. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya walked away, but Lord Nityananda, when he saw Sarvam Bhattacharya collapsing on the ground, he quickly came. And he raised Sarvam Bhattacharya, and some of the assistants also came, and they picked up Sarvam Bhattacharya and they carried him back to his. Then the four devotees, together with Lord Chaitanya, proceeded towards Alarnath. So the plan was that these four devotees, even though they're not supposed to accompany the Lord for South India Yatra, they at least wanted to accompany the Lord towards Alarnath, up to Alarnath, and the Lord allowed him. So the Lord was very happy. He reached Alarnath, and there was a very beautiful ecstatic kirtan in Alarnath. So many devotees also, all the residents and those devotees who had gathered to take that darshan of Alarnath, they all saw the beautiful transcendental form of the Lord. Beautiful golden complexion, saffron dress. The Lord he's so beautiful physically, so effulgent, and saffron on a golden complexion, and very tall, above 7 feet. Lord Chaitanya's height, externally, I mean, from a physical perspective, is around 7 feet or more. And his arms stretched up to his knees. Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadatau sankirtanai kapitaro kamalayatakshu shvambharau dvijavarau yugadharma palau vande jagat priyakarau karunavatar. It's very beautiful. It says Ajanulambita bhujau. So when the Lord would dance, such long arms, and the Lord would so gracefully put his arms up into the air and chant the holy names and dance his dancing and his kirtan and all that would be mesmerizing for everybody, those who would be around. Not only would he sing and dance beautifully, he would start displaying ecstatic symptoms and crying and rolling on the ground, and it was trembling. It was, beyond this world to get a chance to see this kind of an extraordinary Sankirtan by Lord Chaitanya. So crowds would gather, everybody would. It is said whoever came there in Alarnath and saw Lord Chaitanya, they didn't want to go home. They were just stuck there only. They said, no, we want to see this person. And we want to keep on seeing him. We don't want to go. Everyone, the children, the old men, the women, they were also all seeing Lord Chaitanya dancing. They were also dancing, and they were all chanting. Wow. It was like flood of love of Godhead everywhere. And when Nityananda Prabhu saw how Lord Chaitanya is inducing all the common folk in this way, inspiring them to chant the name of Krishna and chant and dance, Nityananda Prabhu predicted that very soon, in the same way, Lord Chaitanya will spread the chanting of the holy name everywhere, that in every town and village, they will be induced to chant and dance the holy names of the Lord. The kirtan went on and on and on and on. It was not ending. It was lunchtime, and Lord Nityananda was thinking what to do. It is time for the lunch of the Lord, and everybody is still dancing. Finally, what Lord Nityananda did is took Lord Chaitanya, took him into the room with the few associates, and quickly closed the door behind. So all the crowd remained behind. And then they served lunch. Of course, they had taken bath before that, but after that they took lunch. Gopinath Acharya had brought prasad, and Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya, both of them sat together, and they ate, and whatever remnants of their food were there were distributed to the devotees. And to their surprise, when they after the meal, when they opened the door, all the crowd was still waiting there. Nobody went away. And they're all waiting, and the Lord came out and again gave darshan to all the crowd of the devotees, and they were so happy. Again, they started dancing, chanting the names of Krishna and Gopal. And from lunch all the way up to evening, the kirtan just continuously continued. So it was very, very beautiful. It went all the way up to night. Finally, Lord Chaitanya decided that, tonight I will spend here. So the Lord took rest at Alarnath, spent the night there. And even at night, Lord Chaitanya was absorbed in discussing the pastimes of Krishna, all his devotees. So next morning, the Lord took bath. And after that, he decided that now I have to go on my tour for South India. So told his associates that now I need to go alone. So he embraced each of his associates, Lord Nityananda, Jagadananda, Mukunda Datta, Damodar. And they all, just like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, as the Lord would embrace them, they would all fall unconscious, just thinking of the separation from God. Again, just like he was detached. I wouldn't use the word detaching, detached is the wrong word. But it is said that Lord Chaitanya did not stay back. Just after this happened, the Lord just continued to offer. But actually, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, separation, the Lord was also perturbed. Perturbed in the sense, at a spiritual level, we are not talking about a material attachment here. At a spiritual level, the Lord was also feeling. The Lord was feeling sad not only because he was going to feel separation from his very close associates. That is definitely one aspect. But the Lord was also feeling unhappy because he knew how much pained his associates. So the Lord is pained on seeing the pain of his devotees. But the Lord still, and this is the great compassion that the Lord has for the person, at the cost of so much pain to himself and his associates, the Lord has the higher mission of delivering conditioned souls like us. And that is why he does this great sacrifice, even though he doesn't need to, even though he's not obliged. So the Lord walked on, even though, in his heart, he was in great pain. Krishnadas, it's not Krishnadas Kaviraja, this is Kala Krishnadas, is another devotee. This Krishnadas Brahmana, he was carrying the Lord's water pot, and as soon as the Lord left, started following the Lord. So the rest of the devotees, they continued to be in Alarnath. It is said they remained there and fasted for the rest of the day. Lord Chaitanya left. The following day, with a lot of grief and sadness in their heart, they returned back to Jagannath. Okay, so we are actually at 9:51. I will not be able to complete the chapter as I planned. So I think I will take a pause here because there is something very interesting which starts here, and that whole conversation continues into the various episodes happen in South India. So what I will do is I will pause here. We will continue from verse 96. And there are some very interesting things, even though there are not a lot of verses, there are perhaps around 60 odd more verses, but there are many, many beautiful, wonderful points about the pastimes of Kurma Brahmana and Vasudeva Leper, which I want to discuss. So I don't want to rush through that in 8 minutes. I think it will do us well if we do that at length. So let's do that. So very, because the pastimes, especially with Kurma Brahmana and with Vasudev Lepar, are especially relevant for us. Especially because they are instructions to Grihasthas. That's why I want to take some time and not rush. So we'll continue from verse 96 onwards. So meanwhile, if there is any questions, comments. Okay, Pooja Mataji had asked one question in the chat, so I'll just quickly answer that. Purushottam Mas is Adhik Mas. So Adhik Mas comes once every 3 years or so, 2.5, 3 years. So Adhik Mas is Adhik. Adhik means extra. So every year you don't have that month. So that month at an external level is something like an equivalent of, because our months in the Vedic calendar are lunar months. So to adjust the lunar calendar 12 months and to realign it with the solar calendar, there is an Adhik Mas added every 2.5, 3 years. We don't have the concept of a leap year like in the Gregorian calendar. But this month is very, very special. It is a spiritual month, and it comes every 2.5 to 3 years. So it is coming now between Shravan, the middle of Shravan. So I do not know the technicalities of its calculation, but Adhik Mas usually comes around this time, around Shravan time. So it kind of suddenly appears in the middle of the year, and then the rest of the year will continue. That year has extra 30 days. So Purushottam Mas is considered very, very special. It is said that it is even more special than the Kartik month. We glorify Kartik so much. 100 times more than Kartik is the value of. So this month is said to be non-different from the. So again, like Kartik, of course, Kartik, we focus a lot on Damodar Puja. So our focus, of course, is on Radha and Krishna in Purushottam Mas. And in whatever way we can increase our devotional service, that is recommended. So Shravan is part of our regular months in the calendar. Chaitra, Vaishak, Ashar, Jeshta, Shravan, Bhadrapad, so on so forth. Ends with Magh and Falgun. Yeah. So, yeah, did I answer your question, Pooja Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Only one more thing. Then why we are only having 12 months if one more is added here?
13.
Then
this 13 doesn't come all the time. This is the 13th month. So this year there are 13 months.
Okay.
So our calendar stretches to accommodate one more month. That's why it is Adhik. Adhik means extra, no? It is extra. It is not replacing anything. It is extra. So it gets injected in the middle. Shravan is almost like the middle of the year. It gets injected in the middle.
So, Prabhuji, just in the continuation of this thing, what in South India, what I heard from the people that they don't do worship in this month. So why means what in ISKCON when Prabhuji was telling we can do puja, deepdan, everything in this month because this is considered very much auspicious. But on the other side, people are telling we are not supposed to do the worship in this month especially. So why this conflict? I'm not able to.
I'm not sure about the South Indian tradition. Is it? I do not know. Maybe others can comment. And even if it is, there is something like this, then I'm not aware. But Adhik Maas is said to be generally across our traditional culture. At least I have not heard. Maybe we can check with others, and but they may have a different reason for it. See, Adhik Maas also has a very interesting story. I don't remember all the details of the story, but there's a very interesting story of Adhik Maas, because Adhik Maas was originally considered a contaminated month, but then the Lord gave a very special blessing and made the month glorious. So there is a pastime in the scriptures related to that. I do not remember all the details, but we will need to find out if there is, such a tradition in certain parts of South India. But obviously, there are very clear verses in the scriptures with respect to maybe the prohibition is for certain kinds of worship. I do not know. Again, I'm speculating. Because this Purushottam Mass is especially meant for Purushottam, which means for the Supreme Personality of God. So maybe the focus is on devotional service and not on Karmakanda. Maybe it is something like that. I do not know. You may have to check. Yeah, so interesting. We can ask. Yeah, Suresh Prabhu. Yeah, thanks, Madhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I was going through last recording. I did not attend this class. So, a few questions, Prabhu. First,
Sure.
regarding that prasadam, right? When someone gets prasadam, so at our stage, should we honor or should we get fresh? I mean, we take bath and honor it.
We should honor immediately.
Okay, as it is. Okay. And
Yeah, but again, when we say immediately, doesn't mean that you have to sit down, put a plate, and lay out everything and eat all of it. So when we say honor prasad, if somebody gives you, let's say a laddu, for example, and if you don't want to eat the full laddu, actually take a pinch and put a few particles in your mouth. That's also honoring prasad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honoring means we respect. We immediately accept the mercy. So at least that much we should do. Yes, that we should also do.
Yeah, the other thing, Prabhuji, Shankaracharya, right? Like you said, he was sent on a purpose by Lord Shiva, which he was not aware, right? So to
Not Lord Shiva. He is Lord Shiva.
incarnation,
He was sent by Lord Hari.
yeah, incarnation.
Yeah.
So his motive was to distract people who
To
have
distract the atheistic people whom he did not want to interfere with bhakti.
So Prabhuji, so when his motive is that, then more and more atheist people will come, right? So how are they going to get converted devotees?
When you go out and preach,
Yeah,
and go out and do Sankirtan, give them Krishna Prasad. So the Lord didn't want the atheistic people. See, atheists will meddle and spoil bhakti. So they are given this toy. When you tell an atheistic person, you can become God, they become very excited. And they don't mind being religious if they are given a philosophy that you can become God. You'll be surprised, out of so many people who follow so-called religion, I told you, right, there's not much difference between there is no God and I am God.
yeah,
Because essentially in both cases you're denying. And the core of the mentality is I reject surrendering to anybody. That is at the heart of it. I am the enjoyer, I am the controller, I am the all in all. So that is at the root of this mentality. So in one sense, what the Lord is doing is he's giving them a toy. They're not rejecting the Vedas, they're still accepting the Vedas. At least they are following principles of dharma. At least they are following certain religious principles. And because they're somehow in the system, they will be purified to some extent. And maybe if they follow properly without much offense, or without offense, they could achieve at least the transcendental Brahman. and also because they are somehow connected to the system, there is a chance that they may receive the favor of the Lord or his pure devotees, like Sarvam Bhattacharya received. So those who are not actively envious of the Supreme Lord, but are somehow somehow have come to subscribe to this philosophy for whatever background or exposure that they may have had, if they come in contact with the pure devotee of the Lord or the science of pure devotional service in the association of devotees, they will automatically be attracted to the Lord, and then they will become fortunate. So it is our duty as followers of Lord Chaitanya to create that opportunity for others to get attracted to the Lord.
Prabhuji, I have one more question. Unless others have anything to ask, I'll wait.
Go ahead, bro. Nobody else has raised.
Prabhuji, yeah. So this question came up in temple also, like some Prabhujis were addressing, but still. So every religion, every faith, everyone has the opinion that whatever track I'm into, my way of thought of school, whatever it's the best, whatever reason, Prabhu. So ultimately, how this is decided? I mean, since we are into your track, I mean, you are our Shiksha Guru. So
My track. Okay.
sorry to address that. Maybe I did not get right words.
No, it's okay. I understood.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I can tell that I am into this Bhakti Marg and mine is best, even though I don't claim or do something, for example. And other person, he Shankara follower, he may also tell that my school of thought is good. So ultimately, how do we decide, Prabhu? I mean, how this controversy is always there, right?
So for you have to be convinced.
Yeah.
See, for us, what is our reference point? Our reference point is what Krishna himself has spoken. Gita and Bhagavatam are our reference. There are other Puranas which may give different perspectives. There are other darshanas which may give different perspectives. Why there are so many perspectives and so many watered down versions of reality, of the ultimate reality? It is because not everyone is ready to accept the full truth. Okay. First, I want you to understand why there are so many. Just like, why the Lord created the Mayavad explanation. Out of compassion for these souls. The Lord is not wanting to, let them go to hell. He's creating because he knows they will reject him. They'll reject devotional service because they are envious. So the Lord is at least giving something that they can hold on to now, so that at least they have some chance later, if they become fortunate by contact with devotees, to come to a higher plane. See, if you remember in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, when the topic in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is speaking about the various devatas, Krishna says, when somebody wants to worship a particular devata based on his particular modes of material nature, I, who is situated in their heart, create the faith in the worship of that devata in his heart. So Krishna has to create that faith. Why Krishna does that? Because Krishna knows that at this point they are not evolved enough to worship him directly as a supreme person, but because they are materially motivated, they want to worship a particular vibhuti form of the Lord. One of the devatas are the Lord's vibhuti. So they are interested in what they can get from God. They are not interested in loving God. So the Lord only gives the faith, the Lord only gives the system of worshipping the devata, and when the person worships the devata with the faith that the Lord has given and the method that the Lord has given, the Lord only gives the benedictions to the devata to him. That's what Krishna says, right?
Yeah.
So Krishna has created all the systems ultimately according to a person's adhikar. Adhikar means qualification, which is essentially based on how evolved he is spiritually and what is his motivation. Different people will be attracted to different types or flavors of spirituality.
Okay.
So our position is, while we want to teach Krishna consciousness actively, Krishna's advice is simple. Na buddhibedam janayeta karma sangina. Those who are attached to a lower platform do not be very enthusiastic to go and destroy their faith. Even though you may know something higher, gently try to encourage them to come to a higher platform by slowly engaging them. Joshayet sarva karmani. You read that verse. Prabhupada also explained. Of course, that is in the context of those who are attached to materialistic activities and fruitive activities, but the principle applies for any other spirituality which is lesser than pure devotional service, which includes everything. Whether it is karma, jnana, yoga. So a devotee, and we are just sadhakas, right? We are not siddhas. We are not perfected souls. So we cannot go around,
Yeah.
Oh, this person is like that. Oh, he is like that. Nowadays, there is some controversy also. Because some preacher made some comment about somebody. Anyway, if you don't know, it is good. But for those who know, you don't need to know. But if you, so the point is, people get disturbed. So when we go around judging others, so devotee should not be in the position of, he may know what it is, but we don't go around publicly judging and criticizing. Oh, actually, you are a lower person. I am a higher person. I am a higher platform. We never take this. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna personally never ever took such a position. He would take the most humble position until the person would ask him, please tell me. And then he would start explaining. But he would follow such exemplary character spiritually that people would be attracted by his devotion, people would be attracted by his character, by his personality, by his humility, and they would want to know from him. So there are millions of flavors of spirituality.
Yeah.
So as long as a person is wanting to come to a higher platform and evolve, and that higher could be karma, jnana, yoga, bhakti, whatever it is, as long as he's pointing upwards.
Yeah.
We don't want to put them down and criticize.
Good.
But rather than saying what you are doing is wrong, we tell them, can I share something that can you add this to your practice?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we gently encourage. And the best way somehow, the best approach is the approach that we discussed in the last class with respect to how Sukhdev Goswami and how the four Kumaras got attracted. When those who are non-envious, when they come in the association of devotees and they hear about Harikatha in the association, they immediately will get attracted. So our service should be to see how we can gently connect and encourage. Of course, if somebody is questioning us and asking us, philosophically we can defend, philosophically we can defeat. There's no problem if they are approaching and wanting to engage. We don't go after them and saying, I want to defeat you.
Okay.
We should not take that approach. But if somebody says, oh, you are following something wrong, this is the right thing, then we should be able to defend based on Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad, whatever other practice. But our focus must always be to argue on the basis of principle,
Yeah, Prabhuji. Yeah.
not on the basis of you are wrong, your guru is wrong, your saint is wrong. We don't want to attack any individual or any person. See, we should understand when we talk about Krishna, we say, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha. Krishna, for Krishna, not just Vaishnavas are dear, but all Brahmanas are dear. What does Brahmana mean? Anybody who is genuinely cultivating spiritual life and who is inquiring towards the absolute truth is dear to Krishna, even if they are not pure devotees.
Okay.
So we should not be offensive and critical towards any saintly person. We will get reaction, yeah, even if they are not devotees.
Okay.
So yeah. So the best approach is we are convinced. Everyone is guided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their heart. And our service is for those who are ready, give them exposure to that special mercy of Lord Chaitanya so that they can upgrade themselves from economy class to business class,
Yeah.
first class. So they can get on the flight back home, back to Godhead. That's the highest attempt.
It's clear. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Sorry for the long answer.
No issue.
Okay. Anyone say or share, ask? Okay. So have a auspicious, have a fruitful Purushottam Mass. Please see in whatever way you can increase your devotional service. Very simple ways are by offering nice tulsi and flowers and lamps to the Lord at least. There are some prayers also we shared. There is a Chauragra Ganyam, beautiful song which is considered especially appropriate. The Lord who is the stealer of our hearts. That also I think I shared a video. Also there is one verse about Govinda which Rabindranath Thakur says, which is also said to be especially appropriate for this month. But the principle is, in whatever way we can increase our devotional service auspicious, we'll get much more benefit. So today, whatever Harikatha we have discussed, we have got, I have got the benefit of 10,000 classes on Chaitanya Charitamrita, and you have got the blessings of 10,000, hearing 10,000 classes. So that's the good part. So this is also a very good opportunity for share Krishna consciousness with others. Too. Of course, some of you are already actively sharing. So especially Suraj and Shalini, I know they are actively sharing because there's so many, including their family and friends. So of course, others should also make that effort. This service is very dear to the Supreme Lord, because whoever becomes an instrument of compassion, Krishna feels very obliged to such a devotee. Because Krishna feels that he has saved others. Now I have to save him. Krishna feels obliged. उसने मेरा काम किया है, तो I have to. So like that. That's a very sure, short way of attracting Krishna's attention. So anyway, but in any case, whatever way we can engage in devotional service, all wonderful. Okay, so we will continue on Saturday.
Prabhuji, morning, which
Bhagavad.
shloka one you have updated in the group, Govardhana Dharam Vande. Do we
Yeah.
have to chant one round or?
No, you can just say it once also, or whatever number of times you want. It's up to you. There is no, it doesn't have, it's not a japa verse. You want, you can just stand in front of your altar and recite that verse, devotion to the day, as many times as you want, whenever you want.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, if you want, when you're offering lamp. Okay, thank you very much.
Is Ramayana part of Bhagavatam, or is it a separate?
Ramayana is also part of Bhagavatam.
Which canto?
Seventh, right? Or ninth. I think ninth canto.
Ninth canto, I think, Prabhuji.
Yeah, ninth.
Yeah.
Ninth canto. Yeah. But it's a very brief coverage because Ramayana is so extensive. So it comes just before Krishna Lila. Ram Lila is covered. But it's a brief overview. Because Ramayana is so extensive. In fact, even Krishna Lila, of course, 10th canto in one sense is extensive, but yeah. Ramayana is not covered in that detail because Ramayana already pre-existed at the time that the Bhagavatam was compiled. So it has been given in a summary. Yeah, of course, by all means, if you are attached to Ramayana, you can read Ramayana and Ram Lila also.
Yeah, this month, Keralites read Ramayana for 1 month, starting from yesterday. So that's why I asked.
Wonderful. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Ram and Krishna are the same person. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Nataraj. So Chaitanya Charitamrita ki.
Thank you.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.